I think it is extremely important, and I thank the gentlelady from Pennsylvania for her leadership and my good friend from Kentucky. I think it is very important to come to ensure the American people, and particularly my husband, Dr. Lee, and to proclaim, which we have the ability to do as members of Congress, that no one's gas stove will be lost or taken. In fact, I even heard members say, I'm buying a gas stove or I'm getting a gas stove. Let me proclaim again, no gas stove will be taken from any American ever, ever. It is interesting to be on the floor fighting about freedom and protection of a gas stove. Needless to say, today is June 6th. I stood earlier today to honor D-Day. I know what those men died for. And so it is important to be able to protect consumers from dangerous explosions of any kind. And that is all that our agencies are doing. Again, proclaim, no one's gas stove is being taken away. We will be debating freedom of a gas stove, protection of a gas stove, when children, 8 per day, are dying because of gun violence. I only ask the question. I want my constituents in Houston to know, my constituents in Texas to know, my constituents in the nation to know, as we represent the entire nation, that no one's gas stove needs protection or freedom, because there is an agency that prospectively 3 years is looking to ensure that all gas stoves are safe. We owe that to the American people. And I have now for the 3rd time been engaged with the RAINS Act. Please let me explain to you what that is. It is literally a stop sign of the executive functioning. Because if a regulation is abusive to the American people, we can file, and it often happens, lawsuits to challenge that. And that will be individual consumers or companies. But when you have a regulation, it takes at least a year almost for the input of the American people to be able to say this is a regulation that works or not. But the RAIN Act will require the Congress to intercede every moment. So if it is about asthma, if it is about heart disease and a regulation comes out, if it is about good medication, you won't get it because the Congress will have a rein around. There will be a stranglehold and we'll get nothing done.
Good morning, friends. With Congress's new debt ceiling agreement recently passed, the Internal Revenue Service and many other programs will begin to see budget cuts. Over 1 million Americans have just a couple of weeks left to take action and claim leftover relief money from our federal government. My friends, if you qualify for one of these tax credits, you may be able to receive a check that is worth about $900. So please make sure that you watch until the end of this video for everything that you need to know. Also, this coming Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, my friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. The debt limit agreement highlights an overlooked threat to the $80 billion that Democrats pushed through last summer for the Internal Revenue Service. Now, 9 months after the $80 billion was allocated to the agency, lawmakers are taking a quarter of it back. This is in order to stave off budget cuts to domestic programs. Though that's helped ease a debt ceiling through Congress, some call it a precedent that could stall the administration's ambitious plans for the Internal Revenue Service. The Biden administration itself is downplaying the impact of the impending $21.4 billion cut, saying the money that Democrats gave the IRS last year was always intended to be slowly spooled out over the next decade. So now, instead of running dry in 10 years, the administration says the money will be exhausted in 8. A less stark but more potent risk is that the IRS money gets pulled into unrelated budget disputes, and Democrats are forced by Republicans to choose between cutting funding for the agency and other initiatives they also support. That's essentially what's happening with the debt ceiling deal between Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who have agreed to use $20 billion of the money to prevent cuts over the next 2 years to domestic programs, whose budgets are set each year by Congress. The plan would actually increase the deficit by $19 billion, according to a Congressional Budget Office estimate that is provided to Senate Budget Committee Chair Sheldon Whitehouse. Cutting IRS enforcement costs the government money because auditors bring in far more revenue than it costs to employ them. While the plan would save $21.4 billion in spending, CBO predicts it would reduce future tax collections by nearly $41 billion, nearly 6 times the agency's annual budget. The $80 billion was intended to be used for a once-in-a-generation overhaul of the agency that would improve tax services, increase enforcement, and modernize its technology. The problem for the agency is that the process is very slow. Though the money was approved last August, the IRS has barely begun to spend the cash. It's only released its blueprint for the cash in April and has told lawmakers it anticipates spending only $2.8 billion by the end of 2023. The IRS says that by 2025, just $5.8 billion will have been obligated. Most of the cash will not go out the door until sometime after 2027. That is partly because it takes a long time to hire and train auditors, something that will be tough in a tight labor market. The agency has resisted detailing its long-term plans for the cash, in part because it hopes to retain some flexibility in deciding how to proceed. But some predict the debt deal and the risk of lawmakers coming back for more will push a tax agency to further spell out its plans for the money in order to make it more clear what's at stake. House Republicans are planning to roll out a new package of tax cuts very soon, mostly focused on undoing recent reductions in business breaks for capital, interest, and research expenses, which will refocus attention on the deficit. The Internal Revenue Service has announced that nearly 1.5 million people nationwide are still eligible to receive a tax refund, which is worth up to $900. It may not just be a $900 refund, because many low and moderate income taxpayers may also be eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit. For tax year 2019, that credit was $6,557. The IRS estimates that nearly $1.5 billion in refunds remains unclaimed because Americans have yet to file their 2019 tax returns. According to the IRS, the average refund size is about $893. So, dear friends, if you have not filed your 2019 tax return, then you are eligible to receive this refund. Taxpayers have a deadline of July 17, 2023 to file their tax returns for fiscal year 2019. IRS Commissioner Danny Werfel acknowledged that many filers missed the deadline because of the outbreak of the crisis, adding that the agency wants taxpayers to claim these refunds, but time is running out. So, dearest friends, if you qualify, please make sure to file very soon. Well, my magnificent and most marvelous friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Tuesday. My dearest friends, thank you very, very much for joining me here and for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, I will be announcing several winners this coming Friday for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, my dear friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed week.